Hello, I recently came across this pen and let me show you how it works. So you drag the slider and the donut chart updates. Thing is, this is done with a pretty complicated structure. So as you can see here, all that you can see up to here, up to that div there, that's just one item, one slider and one chart. And yeah, there's 5 of them, that's why there's more code. But one of them is pretty much all you can see in the panel right here. And the JS is pretty complicated as well because you have a lot of prefix transforms and a lot of repetition. So what I'll be doing today is show you how to do this in a much simpler manner with just 3 elements, and that's going to be a wrapper, a range input, and an output. So we're going to have a wrapper, so that's going to be a div element, and then we're going to have an input, and we're going to make this type range, and this is it for the structure. We're not going to need anything else here. And yes, I mentioned an output, but we're going to be adding that via JavaScript because we're not going to see the current value if we don't have JavaScript, because that's pointless. We can't update it otherwise. So I have the color scheme here. I got it via the DevTools color picker from the other demo. And I have it here ready to use. So I'm going to do like a very simple reset here, like margin 0, so the simplest reset possible. And then I'm going to set a background on the body. So background, and I'm going to use that background value. And this is it for the background. And then I'm going to start setting other stuff. So I'm going to have something like a track width, and I'm going to make this 25 ems, let's say, and that should be a good value, I'm thinking. So this is going to be the wrapper. Let's give it an outline, just so that we can see stuff. And we're going to give it a width that's going to be equal to that track width. And we're also going to set a font. So font, and we're going to set this in viewport units. Okay, now we're going to have a bunch of mixins. So mixin track, and we're going to give this track width. Okay, now one more thing we're going to set here is we're going to have a factor k, and this is going to be something like 0.1. Now let's think. We're going to have a track height as well. So track height, this is going to be pretty thin, something like this, a fraction of the track width. And then we're going to have the thumb diameter, and this is going to be k times the track width. Okay, so here my height is going to be the track height, and I'm going to give it a background, the one that we can see here. So background, just use that one. Now let's collapse the wrapper for a bit, and here we're going to have type range, and let's use that. We're going to have this and WebKit slider thumb. We don't need to set this on the track because it's by default WebKit appearance none. Okay, and then we're going to include those mixins. So actually for the slider runnable track, and I hate that it has such a long name, include track. Okay, so this should give me a nice background. but also I'm going to want to set a width, and this is going to be the track width, a height, and this is going to be the thumb diameter. Okay, we're going to set font to inherit. Okay. We're going to make this display block, okay, so that it nicely fits within the wrapper. Actually, let's make this 4 pixels so that it's more obvious, and let's give it a margin, and let's say this is going to be something. Actually, make it bigger. This is way too small. Something like this. Okay. So this is starting to look like something. We're starting to see the track there. Let's give it a border radius, and this is going to be half the track height. Okay. And also for various browsers, we're going to need to set border to none here. Okay. Now that we've done this, let's just copy paste this, make something similar for the thumb. So thumb, and here we're going to use the thumb diameter instead of the track width and height. So just go back on that. Border radius, this is going to be 50%, and the background is going to be this one right here. So this should do it. And let's see now our thumb. So we're just going to copy paste this, replace this track with thumb. As I said, here it doesn't have runnable. Okay, and now we're seeing the thumb. Thing is, WebKit browsers allowing this weirdly, so we're going to need to set a margin here. So this margin is going to be half of the track height minus the thumb diameter. And if you want a very good explanation, this is going to be just margin top, sorry. A good explanation of this, I wrote an article and it's going to get linked in the description, so go check that one out. Okay, now just take this and then just paste it again, which is kind of awkward. I don't think that's what I wanted to do. Okay, copy, paste, paste, and here copy, paste, and paste. I'm going to remove this here. I'm going to make this 0. This is going to be for edge. So this is going to be for Firefox, and instead of slider, I'm going to have track, and I'm obviously not going to, sorry, not track, range. Range. Okay, I'm not going to have that runnable there. I'm not going to have this or this. This is going to be for edge. So okay, so I've fixed that. Now one more thing I need to do here is set background to transparent, because otherwise it's white in WebKit browsers. Hello, you should have updated that. Okay, don't tell me something's wrong. Come on. Okay, it updated it. That's good. Okay, so now we have our range slider. And what we're going to want to do is add an output via the JS. So let's read the range, and this is going to be document get element by ID, now I'm going to have the wrapper here, and this is going to be the range, the parent node of the range. Okay, and then I'm going to have the output, and this is going to be a document, create element, output. Okay, so this is the first step here. Let's maximize this so that we can see stuff better. Okay, next we're going to have a value, and we're going to store the current value here. Then we're going to have an update function. Okay, and here we're going to have a new value, and this is going to be the value we read for the range. Okay, and here, so if the current value is different from the new value, we're going to have that on the wrapper style set property. So we're going to set a custom property here, which is going to be the current value, and this is going to be equal to the text content of the output, which is going to be equal to the current value, which we set to the new value. Okay, so now that we've done this, let's see when we call this function. So actually, first of all, we're going to have something like this. Yeah, we're going to call the update function initially. Okay. So then we're going to just append child output, and before that we're going to set an attribute. So set attribute for, and we're going to set this to the range ID. Actually, just do it like that. Okay, and now we can see the value there. It looks ugly, but we can see it there. And now we're going to have add event listener, and this is going to be input, use the update function, and also we're going to have change for edge because it doesn't support input. Okay, so and yeah, on the range input, whatever. It works without that. Anyway, so now that we've done this, as you can see, it looks all nice. We're going to have another test here. So we're going to check if conic gradients are supported natively. So let's collapse these mixins here because we're not going to be looking at them anymore. And let's collapse this as well. Let's compact this a bit, collapse this as well, and now we're going to have plus. Plus output, and here we're going to have a background. Actually, this is going to be conic. Okay, so now I'm just going to take these values right here, and I'm going to set them there. And as you can see, now I have a sort of a background right there. And yeah, it's still pretty small. So what I'm going to be doing here is but first, let's see if conic gradients are supported. So here I'm going to have a test. So if get computed style output background image. Oh, sorry. So if it's different from none, because we get none if conic gradients are not supported. So in this case, we add a class to the wrapper, and this is going to be the full thing with the chart. So now that we've done this, let's save. So now let's say that we didn't add this class. So if we didn't add this class, here we'd have wrapper, and here we'd have not full, and here we have the output. And here we're going to have position relative. This is going to have position absolute, background transparent. We're going to set top 0. Okay, we're also going to set color white. Okay, and now we're seeing it there. Let's also give it an outline, something like this, just so that we can see it. And this is going to be hot pink, just so that we can see stuff better. And also let's give it some dimensions, and the dimensions are going to be the dimensions of the thumb. So it's going to be the exact same thing as for the thumb. So just paste them there. Okay, so I have that stuff there. I'm also going to set display flex, align items center, justify content center. Okay, so that gives me something nice. And also something else I'm going to set here, and that's going to be after content %. So now I'm seeing the percentage. The thing is, as I'm dragging this, as you can see, the percentage changes. But the thing is, I can't drag it if it's under there. So I'm going to need to set pointer events none. So let's set that here. So pointer events none. And now it works dragging from there. Okay, so that's cool. But the thing is, I also wanted to move with the thumb. So I'm going to use a transform here. So transform, and it's going to be a translation along the x-axis. And it's going to be a calc value. So here, the left edge coincides with the left edge of the input. And here, the left edge is going to be one thumb width before the right edge of the input. So it's going to be at the track width minus the thumb dimensions. So this is going to be the value, the current value, over 100, because this is the default, times, and my range is going to be, as I said, the track width minus the thumb diameter. So now when I'm dragging this, I'm dragging it together. Okay, and one more thing I can do here is add cursor pointer. Okay, so now that I've done this, I have a pointer cursor. Okay, so now let's say I'm going to add this full class right here. So if I'm adding this full class and I have that full class, then I'm going to set actually I'm going to set this display flex thing. I'm just going to take it out of there, and I'm going to set it on the thing anyway. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I don't have the class added. Get computed style. Let's see. Thing is, I did get that gradient background there, and I just don't know. Okay, let's see the console. Okay, for some reason it's none, but why? Okay, because before I'm adding 4, I'm setting it like this. So I should just remove that. And now it should be fixed. Clear. Let's rerun this. Let's save it first, and let's reload this. Okay. Now this is not what I was expecting. Okay, please. Okay, this worked. Okay, this is good. So yeah, it was my setting that background there that was messing things up. So all good now. I don't need to set it. I was just setting it. For this situation, I can just clear the console there. Okay. So here I'm just going to set some dimensions for this, and I'm going to have the chart dimension. So chart dimension, and this is going to be 1 minus 2k times 100%. So I'm going to set these values. So it's going to be pretty much like this, except it's going to be chart. Okay, and I'm also going to have something else here. I'm going to have for the output, for the wrapper, I'm going to have a height equal to the track width. Okay, so that does it. Now, one more thing I want to do here. For the conic gradient, this is going to be calc the current value times 1%, and this is going to be 0. So now when I drag this, as you can see, it updates, which I think is pretty damn cool. And just look at this. Okay, now what I want is to make this slider vertical. So let's give it an outline as well. Let's use something like this. Okay, and I'm just going to rotate it. So here I'm going to have type range, transform, rotate minus 90 degrees, and I'm going to have a transform origin which is 100% 0. So this looks pretty nice, except now it's outside, so I need to translate it inside by its height. So that's 100% along the y-axis. So that's translate y minus 100%. So it's now nicely positioned. Now, something else I'm going to want to set here is a relative font size, and this is going to be 4. And I'm going to set this on here, font size. So that's relative font size times 1m. Okay. Let's go up a bit. Use a nicer font. Okay, and use, I've already taken this, the thumb, the track, already set those. Now I only need to take this one. So yeah, I'm going to have the color here. So that should work nicely. And then I'm going to need to add a cover here. So this is going to be a radial gradient. So radial gradient, I'm going to have the background transparent. So let's say it's going to be something like 37%, and this one is going to be 0%. Okay, and one more thing I'm going to want to do here is this. Okay, so now I have this. Okay, as you can see, it looks very nice. So next thing I'm going to want to do in this situation, here I'm going to have a before. And on this before, I'm basically going to set a lot of styles that I've been setting here in this case. So I'm just going to have a silent class. So let's say I'm going to call it thumb value. And I'm going to take quite a few of the styles from here. And just make them common. I'm not going to use this one. I'm not going to use the transform either, but I'm going to use all of these. Okay, so now that I've done this, let's have extend. So just use that one, and now I can remove this. I can remove this as well. I can remove this. And here, when I'm just going to extend this, and I'm going to have just to put counter reset value, and I'm going to use the current value as a CSS property. And for the content, I'm going to use this counter and percent. Okay, so here I'm going to have top 0. Not top. I want it in the bottom right corner. So that's going to be right 0, bottom 0. Okay, and now I'm going to want okay, and it shouldn't be in that of the okay. Font size, it's going to be 1m over 1m over the relative font size. So now it's going to be smaller. Okay, let's also add an outline on it. Just add this outline here. Okay, so what's happening? Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, stuff isn't getting updated, and that's, oh come on. Okay, so that's good. Now the thing is, the problem here is the font size that didn't get updated for some reason. So let's go down to that. Okay, so it doesn't show up. That's why. Actually it does show up. So for some reason, font size. Sorry, not star. Okay, in this case it works. So now I'm going to have line height is going to be the thumb diameter. Sorry. And I'm also going to have a text align center. That's good. So it's right there in the middle, and I'm going to have a transform that's similar to the one I have here. So this is going to be translate to y, and this is going to be minus this. So now when I'm moving this, yay, it works. It's perfect like this. Okay, now I'm just going to remove all the outline thingies. So remove that one. Where do I have another one? That one there. Let's go up and see this one. Remove that one as well. Okay, so now I just have this whole nice thing. Now one more thing, I wanted to have nicer styles on focus. So what I can do now is I'm just going to collapse the wrapper here. Just collapse this as well, collapse this as well. Collapse the output. And here I'm going to have focus outline none. And I'm going to add some nicer outline styles. So in order to do that, here I'm going to have, let's collapse the track. Here I'm going to set transform, and this is going to be scale 0.7, and then I'm also going to have filter saturate 0.7, something like that. And then I'm going to have a second mix-in, which is not going to have any of those. And these values are just going to be on none. Okay, and here I'm also going to have transition transform, and this is going to be a duration, and also filter at the same duration. Let's make this linear. Okay, let's set the duration somewhere here, something like this. Okay. Okay, thumb focus. That's why. Okay, so something else I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these styles from here and I'm going to put them here without the margin thing. Just remove that in both cases, and let's compact it all. Okay, and this is going to be thumb focus. Okay, and like that. So now if it's focused, okay, something, doesn't it grow a bit too slow? Half a second, it shouldn't be that bad. Anyway, then I'm going to have the styles for the output. Okay, so I'm going to want to have here, I'm going to want to have opacity 0. Okay, let's collapse that, collapse this as well. So here I'm going to have something like this. Wrapper not full, and also full output before, and I'm going to have opacity 1. Okay, so let's see this some bigger, let's see how it works. Okay, and like this. Maybe I should have a shorter transition, something like 0.3. That would work better. So like this, just bring it down to 0, bring it up. Okay, so this works nicely. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have and you want me to be able to do more stuff like this in the future, please consider supporting my work in one of the ways explained in the description below. With a donation, you have the link there. Like, any sum can make a big difference because it all adds up towards helping me stay afloat. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. In any event, thanks for watching.